Hello and welcome, this is Old Man Poole. I've got something kind of special here today. Magic Online has brought back Battle of the Plains, which they ran last year, and I enjoyed quite a bit. I think I only played one series last time it was around. I may have done two, but this is my first jump back into it. I'm going to be playing with the Innistrad plane, which means that I've got some cards from original Innistrad, Dark Ascension, and then I don't think that actually... Avacyn Restored is in this. I think it's just those two. And then the new Shadows over Innistrad and Eldritch Moon. But we get to make a sealed deck out of that, and then we're playing against other planes. It could be Innistrad, but it could also be Mirrodin, Ravnica, or Lorwyn. Also Dominaria. I actually didn't play within any of these sets a whole lot back in the day, but I am most familiar with Innistrad, so that's my go-to, I suppose. Let's start out by looking at our rares. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm pretty happy with white. Machias is pretty solid, just coming down as a fairly large creature, but having the ability to make all of your other creatures quite large is pretty nice. This is probably a threat that really kind of has to be answered by your opponent or it will snowball out of control. Always Watching seems fine. If you got a lot of tokens, I guess maybe it gets worse, but I think that if you've got a good number of creatures in your deck and are trying to... Well, the fact that you have Vigilance doesn't even mean that you have to necessarily be aggressive. You're happy with it. Requiem Angel, whenever a non-spirit creature you control dies, you get a token. Pretty good. 5/5 flying for 6 is pretty solid on its own as well. And then Silverblade Paladin is... no, I guess there is Avacyn restored in this set, because Silverblade Paladin's from that. But it's 2/2 with Soul Bond, and what Soul Bond does is it gives this creature and whatever creature you pair it with, which can only be one at a time, double strike in this case, which is pretty good. We've also got Niblis of Frost, which is 3/3 flying for 4 with prowess. Whenever you cast instant sorcery, you tap a creature. That card seems pretty busted. And Strumgeist, probably a little bit less good. Probably on average by turn 5 it's going to be like a 2/2 flyer or so, but if it does connect, you get to draw cards. Definitely going to be an inclusion. So I think we have a pretty solid start to like a blue-white flyers deck. We'll be looking at our commons and uncommons and seeing if that's really reasonable, but I think that's probably good. Nightfall Predator, also pretty solid card. Just being able to fight creatures repeatedly gives you a lot of card advantage potentially. So if our green is very good and either white or blue ends up being pretty weak, maybe we jump into that. So usually what I do with sealed is I go through and pull all of the playable cards I like into this bottom column, and all of the cards I'm really excited to play in the top one. And we'll do that one by one for each of the colors, so you guys don't have to wait while I hem and haw over every individual card. So let's start out with white. I'll be right back. So white did not disappoint here, which is maybe not real surprising considering that we had 4 playable rares in the color. But we've also got a couple of good removal spells, as well as like Ghostly Possession, which is fine if you need an answer to a really dangerous threat. It's a little bit worse since if you put this on one of your opponent's creatures, it ends up being a very, very good blocker for trying to win with flyers. Maybe Ghostly Possession is maybe not the best, but I think still playable. And a good number of like reasonable creatures. Kind of high on the curve, but I think white is definitely a solid option. Let's look at blue. Our blue, on the other hand, looked pretty unexciting. We do have a couple of fairly powerful like bounce and removal spells with Sensory Deprivation and Drag Under, and then our 2 very good flyers. But after that we fall off pretty hard. I mean, Invisible Stalker's cool. I haven't looked at our equipment, but maybe if we do have like Butcher's Cleaver, that makes it a lot better. But a lot of sort of tempo cards, nothing super, super nuts powerful. Between the 2 of these, I guess we're at 23 playables right now, so we could maybe put together blue-white, and maybe we will just end up going where the bombs are, but blue is not fantastic. Let's look at red. Or sorry, black. Something like that. Black. Now, before we jump into black, I do want to say thank you to everyone that subscribed to the channel, everyone that likes and comments regularly. I really do appreciate you guys. I know I say this every video. Hopefully it's not getting too old to hear, but it really means an awful lot to me that you guys go out of your way to make it so that other people can find me on YouTube, makes me more visible, and helps really grow the community. Thanks so much, you guys are awesome. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so, join the community. There's a lot of great people that are commenting on every video, a lot of good advice. You guys are awfully smart. A lot of times you see stuff that I don't, and it really does help me improve as a player, and together we can kind of all work together and become better than what we are right now. So, thanks so much. You guys are the best. And now let's get back to the reason why you guys are actually here. Let's talk about the sealed. So black looks fairly middling. It is pretty deep, which is nice. We've got Blood Artist and a couple of good removal spells up top, and then a whole slew of playables, but I don't think particularly exciting cards. I Things like Vengeful Vampire, I actually never played this card. It's probably pretty good. It might even deserve being in the top half. It does cost 6, which is pretty expensive, but I imagine board states where your opponent just cannot answer this twice and it just wins the game. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of kind of like middle-of-the-road creature cards. I think black could be a reasonable second color to go along with white. There's Graph Harvest here, which is a very, very powerful effect, although I'm not sure we really have enough like self-mill to really get it going, or you just need a lot of zombies that really want to have the menace effect. This is the sort of card I love, though, so if I can make a Graph Harvest work, I might be on board for that. But yeah, very deep for black, I think, is our big takeaway there. Let's look at red. So our red's a little interesting, as it often is. We have a couple of cards that are very like all-in. Falcon Wrath Exterminator is nuts if you can get it through a couple of times and you just start machine gunning everything your opponent plays. It's really best early in the game or with cards like Fur of the Bitten or Sentinel's Rage, which means you really do want to be playing kind of an aggressive deck. We also have like Reckless Waif, who I think can pull their weight in an aggressive deck. But we're not really deep on playables. I like Ancient Grudge as a great sideboard card if we end up playing against one of the Mirrodin planes. Gang of Devils is good. We have like Fiery Temper. But overall, I think that red isn't super deep and not super powerful, so I think it's probably out of contention. But let's look at green before we make up our mind for sure. Green also looks decent, but I think we'll get the chopping block in the end. We've got Avacyn's Pilgrim, Daybreak Ranger, and Lamholt Eldar as kind of our premier cards, and then a bunch of kind of middle-of-the-road stuff going down. I think Tracker's Instincts probably is actually a pretty good card if we were to end up in green-blue and had things that interacted with the graveyard. The only one that I can see easily is we've got a Headless Scab, but honestly, we can probably cast that a lot of the time anyway. Anyway, yeah, kind of a bunch of reasonable stuff, but nothing really to cry home about. So I think realistically we're going to be playing either white-blue or white-black. Let's look at our equipment real fast. Slayer's Cleaver. Okay, that's not great. Really expensive to equip. My opponent having an Eldrazi is not particularly likely, although Zendikar is one of the sets, so I guess it's not impossible. One-Eyed Scarecrow, probably a playable card. My opponent's playing a lot of flyers, it gets quite a bit better. Harvest Hand, Blazing Torch. Actually, I think Blazing Torch is probably not the worst. Being able to just shock something is not a real, like, a massive downside. So I could see playing that. I could see playing the Scarecrow, and Demon Male Hauberk. This is pretty powerful. It's bad if their opponent has a lot of removal, but I could see playing that as well, actually. And we've got Shimmering Grotto is kind of our only fixing, which means I think we're pretty firmly cemented to 2 colors. I'm going to take out the red and green here. I don't think that's really in contention. I'm going to see what black-white looks like, I think, here. So I'm going to pull the cards out, and then we'll maybe audible back into a white-blue if it looks like black's just not going to cut it. So I am liking white-black a fair amount here. Just got pretty solid creatures kind of all the way along. Got a good number of creatures. A good number of flyers too, which has the potential again for damage. And also just some really solid removal. Angelic Purge, Murder's Compulsion, and Victim of Night. Nice trick. Griff's Baroon I think is probably fine. It might be a little bit slow in some matchups. I'm not really sure how aggressive the format will end up being, but being able to bring this back over and over and gain flying might be able to give us just that little extra boost to get across. But we actually have like a handful of creatures that can get first strike and a handful of flyers on the ground, so I think we can stall for the flyers quite well. So I think I'm gonna let's try and even think about these too. Do I want to bring in any of those? After looking, I'm really not sure what I'd cut. I don't think we're going to run One-Eyed Scarecrow main deck. Maybe like the Thraben Purebloods. I don't think Delirium is something that's real likely to happen in this deck. Really, we have to have Angelic Purge and sacrifice a land off of it. That's kind of the only way it ends up happening. I guess Olivia's Dragoon could enable it. I guess maybe a couple. It's possible we don't need like the Dragoon too, but I think that the Foulbloods maybe bites the dust, and maybe we play like the Hauberk. I don't know. This is dangerous too. It's sealed. There's gonna be a lot of removal flying around, but it seems very good with like a lot of our flyers. Like if your opponent can't answer this, the game probably ends in very short order. We do have some means to get some tokens as well, but maybe that's just a little bit too much. Alright, maybe we'll just play the Foul Bloods. Maybe we'll sideboard into the Halberd on occasion. And maybe Blinding Torch is a sideboard card as well. Could see playing Blinding Touch over like the Foul Bloods, just as one more removal option. It does require a creature, which makes it quite a bit worse. Like, I think this is our black-white contender. Deck recommends a little bit heavier on the white. Sure, I can kind of see this going either way. I guess Silverblade is a little heavier on that. Okay, 9-8. Let's go ahead and save this. I think we're actually going to make one more deck. Yeah, we're going to pull together white-blue, and at the very least, just see if it's worth considering here. So here we've got one version of white-blue. I feel like this is just worse. I'm really sad to not be able to play like Niblis of Frost and Stromgeist. Most of the Niblis, but I think that for the most part, our blue options are just worse. Like Sensory Deprivation's very good, but we're playing things like Fleeting Distraction, things like Fogwalker, just kind of to make it so that the curve works. Headless Scab isn't even necessarily able to come down on turn 3, and it's not terrible later on, but that's really when it's at its best, too. I think that this is weaker. I think we can play the Demon Male Hauberk main deck just because we do have Invisible Stalker, and I think that puts it over the edge, that if we ever get to equip this up, the game probably ends. Just hexproof and unblockable is pretty good. But yeah, I think I'm going to lean towards white-black to start. It's possible we'll sideboard into this. Maybe I'll decide later on that I actually do like our white-blue version a little bit better. This card is very good, but I don't think it beats out kind of the more solid curve that black provides and just the little bit of extra depth in the deck too. Part of the problem is I think that actually our blue cards maybe are on par with our black as far as power level in a lot of ways, but black just has more cards that I'm happy to play. And if we're playing blue, we're starting to get into some pretty mediocre stuff, like Fleeting Distraction, for instance. So let's start with white-black, and let's see how we do. See you guys for match 1. Alright, here we are for match 1. Have a keepable hand here. My opponent is playing first. We can't actually cast Victim of Night, but everything else is open field. I'm not sure if I would want to kick out Mikaeus on turn 2. We could start putting +1/+1 counters on it. That gives us kind of the maximum amount of time to get value, but also I think is most likely to run it into removal, which is maybe not the best. Played the Swamp there just to, on the off chance we want to play Victim of Night. Ooh, Highborn Ghoul with Intimidate. Okay. Looks like we are playing the Mirror matchup here. Oh, one thing to note too is even though this is a sealed league, it's actually only best of 3. So that we'll only be playing the deck building and then this match and then 2 others after that. We could just take 2 here. Do I want to play Mikaeus? Are we going to have a good time frame to play Mikaeus? Next turn we probably play Partition, maybe trade off with the Lifeborn or Highborn Ghoul. My opponent uses removal on this, it doesn't add to the board. On the other hand, like being able to start kicking up the Partition seems really good. I think I am going to play Mikaeus. If it dies here, it's obviously not great, but we have a pretty solid curve and maybe are a little bit light on lands, so I'm not sure we're going to have too many other great opportunities. There's a lot of removal my opponent can have here. I know that like Deadweight was printed, I'm pretty sure in both sets, and as well as just things like Victim of Night, whatever else. It's interesting, this card actually might be pretty bad for us, despite the fact that most of the time it's going to be solid. A Vampire Noble, which means Mikaeus survives, is nice. So I actually kind of want to play Midnight Haunting then. We're able to block the Vampire Notable probably fairly unexpectedly. We actually can't block the Highborn Ghoul, but getting a couple of Spirit tokens into play seems pretty good. Or I guess to remove a counter isn't quite what we want to be doing yet. Okay, I think I lied. I think we're going to play the Partition. And just plan on ticking up Mikaeus. Okay. Would like to find some lands, I think, is our most exciting, best thing at this point. Even though Fiend Binder looks like it's going to be a little bit more on the defense, I wouldn't be unhappy to have it. Traveler's Amulet. Solid card. Okay, my opponent is cracking it. Just find a land. Ooh, for planes. Interesting. I wonder if they're splashing one of the colors or if they just are legit like a 3-color deck. So far we've only really seen black. It's possible that they're heavy black with a couple of splashes. Oh, that's a little bit less likely in sealed. Okay, let's see what my opponent does here. We're just cracking with both. We could just take it, in which case our Patrician next turn could get in for 4. Pretty good. Gains back most of life. I think I'm just going to take it. I wouldn't be surprised if my opponent had removal if they would have killed Mikaeus. Obviously, I don't know the format incredibly well, so it's entirely possible that, yeah, my opponent's got an answer or something here. Harvest Pyre for 1. Okay, sounds good. I guess that's the reason for playing the Traveler's Amulet. Fair enough. Mikaeus down. That's still not terrible for us. The Patrician does trade fairly well with life. Okay, we're going to play Fiendminder, I think, here. It's just our most efficient line. And let's go ahead and swing. Okay, so Mikaeus died without really providing value, but that's okay. I think we are just going to trade the Fiendminder off. It's better on offense, and we are, I guess, are trading down a little bit on tempo here, but I think keeping the board cleaner is not going to be unhappy. Ooh, Lingering Souls. Okay, that's a card. It looks like my opponent is 3 colors, at least to some degree. Requiem Angel is going to do some good work eventually. So the Patrician just trades off with Spirits. I don't love that. I think because we have Requiem Angel coming down, we maybe should wait as well. Do I want to like Angelic Purge? I don't think I want to do anything here. I think we're just going to pass. And plan on casting Midnight Haunting at some point this turn. My opponent wants to just get in with Spirits. We would allow that. So I think I do want to trade. I'm not going to trade off the Patrician, though. I want to get Requiem Angel into play. But I will trade for my opponent's 2 Spirits, I guess. Lingering Souls are going to get them some good value at some point, but we will do what we can. It's funny, I think this card is good, but it's so much worse than Lingering Souls. We go down to 12. Oh, I should have kept up Victim of Night. That was a misplay. We're just flashbacking, so that doesn't matter too much. Alright, so have not found a land, but Abattoir Ghoul is pretty good as well. That should stop the offensive on the ground. My opponent can't necessarily swing in with both, or we'd get a pretty big lifelink swing. I think we are ever so slightly behind here, but we do have a pretty big bomb that's going to be coming down. And we have removal as well for some of the threats my opponent's playing. Victim of Night definitely is not the best against another Innistrad Battle of the Plains. Okay, opponent took a little while with this. Ooh, Into the Maw of Hell. Alright. Yeah, that's not bad for my opponent. The 2 for 1, even though it's kind of expensive. Requiem Angel is starting to look like kind of a distant memory. Although, we're still just gaining more life than we're losing. I think we just want to keep the Patrician alive. Starting to look a little bit grim, though. That was a pretty nice play by my opponent there. Another land. Can't cast Victim of Night. Really don't want to cast Angelic Purge. Guess I'll go back up to 11 and still just kind of continue living on the wings of a dream here, I guess. They have like another Into the Maw of Hell. Goodness, that would be tragic. Hellrider. Ooh, are we dead? 4, 7, we're dead. Ouch. Alright. Well, pretty thoroughly handled here by my opponent. As unfortunately we never quite got to Requiem Angel. We had a little bit of mana or a little bit of land problems. Oh, not swing with Hellrider. Where you have some sort of instant speed shenanigans, I guess. Don't think it's gonna matter. I guess we swing with the Patrician. I guess we're not dead, right? Because we can still Angelic Purge away the Hellrider. I wonder if we want to leave it back and try and Undying Evil it. Do we purge away a land then? That's tough. On the other hand, are we winning if we're not purging away a land? Probably not. Ugh. Yeah, I think we're just gonna do that. Okay, rest in peace, Hellrider. And sacrifice one of our planes. Ugh. If only we had a second black for Victim of Night. And we're gonna keep back the Patrician to try and block and use Undying Evil. This is a dangerous line. If my opponent has instant speed interaction, we lose, but if they do, there's a reasonable chance they would use it just to kill off the Patrician, in which case Undying Evil won't be too bad. Let's come back to the battlefield tapped. Okay. See what my opponent's up to. Attack. That's fine. So next turn, we'd have to swing Typhoid Rats. Ooh, and a Patrician of their own. Ooh, okay, that's actually quite good. Okay, we play Silverblade Paladin, pair up with the Patrician. And that's actually a pretty massive life swing. Yeah, my opponent just really can't block this. And then the Paladin gets to block some stuff. That's got double strike now, right? Opponent just doesn't want to take the hit, I guess. Oh, I guess that's true, because then we don't gain as much life. That's fair. We are still alive, though, although yeah, maybe you should have considered that. I think I still attack, though. It's not going to be much better otherwise. Well, so I want this to die, so we can bring it back untapped. We're hanging on, though. Silverblade Paladin was a great draw. Still doesn't need too much to just win, but it's not over. So let's go ahead and block like so. Okay, we go down to 1, unless they still have something. Do not. Evolving Wilds. It looks like my opponent is almost entirely red-black, maybe splashing for like Lingering Souls. So I guess we swing with both here, right? Since the Silverblade Paladin's unlikely to block, and I think we really do want to try and get in with the Partition. I think it's very likely my opponent has something here. But then we get to Undying Evil. Not? Wow. Okay, that's good. I think we need to play our blocker. Yeah. Rather than keep up Undying Evil. Ooh, man, did Silverblade Paladin manage to steal this game? I think it might have. Turns out a 3-1 lifelink double, or a lifelink double strike is pretty solid. It's a shame we never got to play Requiem Angel, but I'm glad we followed up with that Angelic Purge play. No blocks. So we could Victim of Night. It doesn't turn into lethal in any capacity, I don't think. I guess we'll just swing with both of these here. If my opponent wants to double block, we still have Undying Evil, or we could Victim of Night a Spirit. And I guess if they block with everything, then that's bad on its own. Don't really see a reason not to swing with these guys, though. I am happy with jump blocks. They do have something. Ooh, Altar's Reap. Okay, that's pretty good. Denying us a little bit of life, keeping from dying. And yeah, I think we just say go here. We do have Victim of Night still, again, assuming it if they have like a powerful card that actually hits that powerful card. But Silverblade's been pretty nice. Pretty nice. Well, Diagraph Ghouls, an unfortunate draw there. Oblivious Bloodsworn. Okay. Opponent can go for it here if they want. Oh wow, all the 1-drops. Man, my opponent's aggressive. Whenever it becomes blocked, deals 1 damage to that creature. It's only when it becomes blocked though, right? Okay, so now we can play Requiem Angel. Do we need to keep up Victim of Night? I don't think so. This is non-spirit specifically, so Searchlight Geist won't do it. I guess we swing with these two first, in case my opponent does have some sort of crazy shenanigans. They are both lethal, which is nice. Still just chumping, yeah. Silverblade Paladin, the double abyss. I could see leaving up Victim of Night. Maybe we don't play Requiem Angel. My opponent has like some random board wipe, it would be worse for us too. I think I'm actually just going to leave Victim of Night up. I don't think it matters that much. I don't know. Maybe that's... Oh, this is a bat. So, being able to upkeep. So we actually can't kill this, which is nice. Because 5/5 is pretty big. Are we going to kill it now? Okay, if we do... We don't quite... Oh yeah, we do just have lethal, right? Unless my opponent's got something. We'll take it. Because this can't block, right? Yeah. My opponent attacked. Victim of Night the Bat. Or bad. Okay, and that is enough for my opponent. So yeah, my opponent looks pretty aggressive. Do we like Blue's Curve better? No, I think if anything we like Blue's Curve worse. Is there anything we would want to bring in? Those guys are good blockers. Quisitor's Ox is kind of expensive. Ghostly Possession may be worth considering. Don't really like any of these. Could bring in the Hauberk. My opponent showed us 2 removal spells, which is fine, but not gross. Ooh, One-Eyed Scarecrow is good, though. That just turns off Lingering Souls. And it's reasonable just as a defensive creature in general. I want to cut Victim of Night. It's so efficient, it feels like we're going to find some target for it. It is pretty unfortunate that it misses a lot. Yeah, maybe I cut it. Killed the Vampire that game, which was pretty good. Can't think of very many cards that we actually can just kill with it, though. Feels scary to remove one of our few pieces of removal, but I think I like it. Okay, let's run this back. And you guys have to forgive me, I'm probably playing a little bit slower than I often try to, but I'm definitely not as familiar with the format. Go ahead and keep this. Hand looks quite good. Got a bunch of low drops. Ooh, my opponent looks like they may have just sideboarded. That's always a consideration. I think you usually do just sideboard against the deck you just played, especially if it's not something huge. But yeah, taking out like Victim of Night, that was unfortunate. Now, white-green. Fork in the Road. Search your library for 2 basic land cards, put 1 to your hand, the other into your graveyard. Setting up potential Delirium or Delirium shenanigans. And opponent grabs Swamp. Hitting lands like a boss. Not sure I want to hit too many more. Let's play Olivia's Dragoon here. And pass. Okay, and opponent's got a Woodland Patrol. A fine card. Ooh, Requiem Angel. I like that a lot. So that encourages us not to trade off if we can avoid it. I think I'm just going to play One-Eyed Scarecrow. I guess we'll offer the trade first. I don't think my opponent will take it. And then I guess we'll offer the trade with One-Eyed Scarecrow going forward after that as well. Ooh, opponent willing to trade. Okay. Not that unhappy with that. Does that change our line at all? I guess Desperate Sentry is a little bit better. On the off chance that my opponent doesn't have anything it could peck in for 1 point of damage. I thought about getting down Evacinian Priest. Maybe that would be correct too. The mana efficiency was not great, but maybe I was accounting for that too much. Ooh, Lumberknot. Well, Lumberknot and Requiem Angel, this doesn't trample, right? So it'll get big, but hopefully we can keep throwing fodder under the wheels. No reason not to swing with Desperate Sentry, I guess. Vengeful Vampire is a good draw. I think it'll be powerful in this matchup, since my opponent seems to be kind of slow. Maybe leaning on Lumberknot to help finish the game. Evacinian Priest doesn't tap down Lumberknot anyway, I guess. If they play a good threat next turn that we want to tap, it'd be a little awkward. Although we could block with Desperate Sentry if we had to. I think the Priest might still just be better to get on the battlefield, though. And maybe should have done that last turn. Grizzled Outcast. Okay, well that's something that Evacinian Priest does answer, which is nice. Okay. Into a 7/7. That's a big card. It's a big card. Searchlight Geist. Perfectly fine. Would love to find our last land, I think, at this point. Yeah, I think we'll just play the Geist. And then potentially have Death Touch up at some point too, which is nice. But for now, I guess we actually can't block that. It's kind of annoying, because it's a human. Fair enough. Or can't tap that. If it flips, we can. That's kind of an interesting dichotomy. And then we have to be keeping mana up for it, and I want to be able to play these flying threats. Ooh, Kessig Prowler. So that can be made big, and has to be, or can't be blocked by more than one creature. This is starting to look a little bit grim. Do I want to block? I think we'll just take it. 4 damage is a fair amount, but we'll just take it. Land. Almost. Do we want to use the Compulsion? That's not terrible. Yeah, okay. I think this is worrisome enough that I'm okay with it. It helps us stall a little bit more as we get up there. Lumberknot gets ever so slightly bigger. And we'll play a one-eyed scarecrow and get in with the Searchlight Geist. Oh, I should have... maybe I shouldn't have done that. Because keeping up Abyssinian Priest would have been nice. Alright. Yeah, that might have been a minor misplay. I'm hoping our flyers will just get the job done. It won't actually matter, but that would have been great. Okay, flipping the Kessig Prowler, I imagine. Yep. Sinuous Predator. It's a creepy card. I loved a lot of the art in Eldritch Moon, and despite the fact that I'm not super wild about Eldrazi in general, the, like, Eldritch Horror twist they took on Innistrad I think was really clever. I really liked the design of that set. I didn't actually play it very much, but I did the pre-release, and that's kind of it. Okay. Opponent looks like they're kind of running out of gas here. Can't be blocked except by creatures with flying or reach. One-eyed Scarecrow doesn't actually block, which is kind of interesting. I'm not gonna block. Take another 4. I think we'd been better off keeping up Abyssinian Priest, unfortunately, but that's what it is. Okay, and we're gonna play Requiem Angel. It's possible my opponent's last card in hand is removal, but that's okay. And I wanted to play that. Oh, I guess it's a Spirit, though. My opponent probably should have blocked. Oh, but it can't block it. That's right. It's sort of flying. It's flying on offense. Okay. Requiem Angel's good. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have an answer. If they do, we much would have rather play Vengeful Vampire. But the upside of getting the Angel in play is pretty enormous. 5/5 is just so huge. This Angel hits a lot harder than her picture might suggest. Okay. Do we want to block at this point? I think I'm okay with that. I think going forward, we're more likely to have Abyssinian Priest up anyway, making Spirits not terrible. It's kind of interesting that we get Spirits from Eldrazi. That sort of seems, does that look like it has a soul to you? I don't know. But I guess it works twice with, like, Vengeful Vampire, so that's maybe interesting, too. I think my opponent did not have removal, otherwise they probably would have used on the Requiem Angel. Uh-oh. Ooh, Abundant Maw. When you cast a spell, target opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. Okay. As 8 mana cost things go, that's not that bad. But that is big. Ooh, Always Watching. Yeah, seems pretty good. Okay. So now we get to swing for 9. Still have lethal next turn, and we get to tap down something big. I think it's going to be hard for our opponent to fall back into this game. I think they played it fine. I think our deck's actually pretty good. We got a lot of really, really solid top end, and some pretty good filler along the way. Oh, maybe we should have swung with the Spirit. Yeah, I think I probably should have, actually. Okay, opponent getting in with both. Oh, man, I never used the Priest when I should. Icy Manipulator all over again. You guys will have to forgive me. Hopefully it won't matter in this instance, but that was pretty unfortunate. Block something like with those 2 there, or we could just jump. Yeah, tapping would have been a lot better. Don't really want to lose either of these guys. Guess we'll trade like that. I want to maintain life total as much as possible. Lumberknot will get bigger here, but we're going to get a couple more Spirit jump blockers. I guess we can tap down 1 thing on my opponent's next turn, just to try and guarantee we can get in for damage. Lumberknot's pretty big now. Ooh, Lingering Souls. That's good. It's going to buy a lot of time. So I guess let's tap down a Spirit. No real reason not to. Not that it does tons either. Ooh, Silverclawed Griffin's pretty nice. So we can swing with everything in force trades. We have to have 1 Spirit at least to interact with Lumberknot. We could just swing with like Requiem Angel on those and try and block, but I don't think that's right. I might leave 2 Spirits back. If my opponent wants to double block that, I don't think that's the end of the world. I'll play Silverclawed Griffin. I don't want my opponent to find like random removal spell and really blow us out there. Okay, and we're going to remember to tap that down this time. Lumbernot's big. Got that going. Still, we'll hopefully just get busy eating one spirit at a time. This is a board where it has the potential to just get massive, which is kind of funny. Yeah, that was not using the priest last turn was a pretty big cost. And my opponent having exactly Lingering Souls was pretty solid for him, but should have been more careful. We're not, I repeat, not skipping through combat this time. Altar's Reap. Pitching Orchard Spirit. My opponent finds an answer for Requiem Angel, like, that does buy them a lot of time. Silverclaw Griffin will still get there eventually, but... Yes, and we are definitely blocking that Lumbernot. Rest in peace, Spirit. You had a good run. No way to give trample, please. I don't remember the set. I was gonna say I can't think of anything, but okay. My opponent has had enough. That was a pretty big Lumbernot. We punted just a little bit with the priest, but we're still able to get there, thanks in large part to the power of our angel. But cool. Happy to pick up match 1. I'll see you guys for match 2. Okay, here we are for match 2. We have won the dice roll. That's awesome. Probably should mulligan this. I'm a little bit tempted because of the Murderous Compulsion, and Mikaeus is just pretty great in general. But I think there's a lot of things that could go wrong with this hand. I'm going to toss it back. And this hand's pretty bad too. I think we're going to keep though. You guys know that I'm definitely a big proponent of not going to 5. Oof. How do I keep this? It's kind of an interesting question. It's going to be kind of a tough game in general. I think we have to get a little bit lucky, so I'm actually going to put this on the bottom, I think. Oof. Alright. Silverclaw Griffin. Maybe they just can't answer a 3/2 first strike on turn 5. Alright, wonder what color combination my opponent's up to. Hey, not in love with Griff Spoon, but that's alright. I have faith. This will go okay, right? Right? I'm kind of scared. Alright. Red-black again. Hopefully not Innistrad again. Oh, nope, Zendikar this time. This is a 2/1 first strike with Cohort, which is tap an untapped ally you control, and deals, and it pings. Okay, so it's mostly a 2/1 first strike for 2, which is, I think, pretty serviceable. I think you'd be happy with that in a lot of decks. Okay, well, our draw's not going great here, but I did pitch a swamp, so maybe I'd have nothing to blame but myself. Let's take our 2 damage. Yeah, this card seems pretty good in a aggressive deck. Gets in for some early points of damage, and later on can work together and ping for a little bit more. Even if each opponent's upkeep, that person has 2 or fewer cards in their hand. Oh, interesting. That card seems less good. So, giving this Griff Spoon, I guess lets it block the Hellfire Mongrel. Guess we're gonna do that. There's not really a whole lot of downside to utilizing Griff Spoon here. So we definitely could have had access to Swamp here. That would have meant we drew the Desperate Sentry 1 turn later, though, too. I think that was correct to pitch the Swamp. Like I said, I think to really have a good shot, we need to get a little bit lucky. And that means not drawing too many lands. Okay. Would die, exile instead. Okay. Doesn't affect the Griff Spoon. That is nice, though, since it's a clean answer to Desperate Sentry, which is often, I think, going to be a little bit hard to pull off. So this is 2 or fewer cards on upkeep, so that's before draw. So if we find a land and play it, we're going to take free damage. Well, I guess the upside of not finding a land is that we don't take free damage. Yeah, might be tough. My opponent hasn't had a particularly proactive start, but we're also not looking particularly good anyway. Yeah. Yeah, we're down to 12. Blade Tusk War. That's funny. I remember this from being from a core set, but I guess it also was from Zendikar way back in the day. Devastating Summons. Oh, wow. Sacrifice X lands. Huh. Wow, this card seems pretty nuts. I mean, it's all in for sure, but yeah, we don't beat that. All right, GG, GG. Devastating Summons. Ooh, that card seems tough to answer. I mean, I guess if we play blue, Drag Under is good against it, but I think we might just have to kind of hope they don't have it. Bone Dash doesn't actually answer anything. And again, I feel like if my opponent's going aggressive, we have a better chance of stopping them with black. Maybe not. We have one Lilith Dragoon. I guess we have Fogwalker. I guess maybe it's not all that different. We definitely have like sensory deprivation. Yeah, maybe white-blue is just better. Griff's Boon seems pretty mediocre. We probably play like Ox. Probably play like Scarecrow, kind of regardless. Maybe we play something like that. Harvest Hand doesn't seem particularly fantastic. I think the extra point of toughness is going to be pretty relevant. Maybe we cut like... Is there a bad blue card here? Like Invisible Stalker, I guess, if we're not wearing an equipment. Okay, actually I think I might like the blue a little bit better. Maybe blue is just slightly better at dealing with an aggressive deck. Would like to play first. And still kind of sketchy on our lands. I'm going to keep, though. We can play Moorland Inquisitor if we find any land. We can give it first strike. If we find blue in particular, then I guess we're kind of getting close to other stuff. Can always use Angelic Purge to sacrifice the Inquisitor, and then maybe play a Scab if we find blue. Hand's not great, but an island goes a long way. Okay. So Moorland Inquisitor, I think, generally just going to be a Grizzly Bear, but there's some significant upside there, too. Come on, kill it. Nope. So, probably not going to use Angelic Purge. If we don't find anything, I think we might just keep up first strike, and then we're almost certainly going to be able to cast the Headless Scab one way or another next turn. My opponent's just got removal. That's like good for them because they can get in for some damage, but I think Headless Scab actually is going to be a pretty brutal stopping spot. Exiling there is unfortunate, though. I guess we did know about Touch of the Void. Oof. Yeah, that hits hard. Midnight Haunting is not particularly good against what my opponent's doing. We maybe could use Angelic Purge. That feels really unfortunate against Zada's Commando, too. Yeah, our lands have not been particularly friendly to us this game. Alright, we will take it, go down to 16. Opponent doesn't have any follow-up. That's probably a good thing for us. Might mean that they just have a lot of removal, but spirits are not bad against removal too. Yeah, the downside on the Headless Scab is definitely showing itself. Not having any like self-mill definitely makes this card or this effect worse. I feel like most of the time you're gonna be able to get something into the graveyard. I guess there's not really any point not to attack. Do we want to Angelic Purge? It's mana efficient, I think, is one of the biggest selling points. Yeah, you know, this is probably going to do another couple points of damage. I think we probably will. We use up one of our spirits, which is not great, but I think we have enough beef in this hand in particular that if we just kind of hold on for a couple more turns, it may not be too bad for us. And we're just going to sacrifice one of our spirits. That feels bad using one of our premium removal spells like that, but it is all we've got. I think we're okay if we go into the late game. Hard to know. Seagate Loremaster. I assume this is an ally. Yeah, Merfolk Wizard ally. So, probably would rather to gotten rid of that, but hard to know. We can at least play the Fiendbinder here, which is nice. Maybe go a little bit on the aggressive. We're not that far away from Silverclaw Griffin. But yeah, my opponent's got a one-sided Howling Mine. That's gonna be problematic. Fiendbinder is kind of hard for my opponent to block, though, too, at this point. This card's pretty sweet. It feels like this could be a very, very real. Are they just playing, like, legit allies, 4 colors over there? Hideous End. Okay. Not what I was hoping to see, but we can play Headless Scab now. And I guess Griff's Boon. Probably on the Scab. It's interesting, my opponent went from... I guess they weren't a real aggressive beatdown the first game, I just didn't have a whole lot to interact, so maybe I kind of misread their deck. Alright. Headless Scab. And we'll Griff Spoon it. I think the advantage of getting it in this turn is pretty high, even though generally you don't want to use a... Oh, wow. Okay, they've got something in response. Fair enough. Vendetta is a solid play there. Yeah, now they're looking kind of like a, I don't know, a wonky control deck. So obviously Island is just our best draw here, but that's we're gonna have a tough time finding our way through this, I think. Angelic Purge on the whatever it's called, Zada's Commando, definitely did not do great for us. Okay. Well, our 1 point of like saving grace here is that the one-eyed scarecrow does block the night allies fairly well, but this is looking bad. Opponent's just drawing 3 cards a turn, 4 cards, I guess. It's hard to beat someone with that sort of card advantage engine. Spawnbinder Mage. Yeah, using Angelic Purge there is looking pretty bad. But again, I don't know. No, I think it probably was a mistake. I probably just misread my opponent's deck the first match through. Alright. Not too much we can do about it, though. Okay, another land's good. We need double blue to play a lot of our powerhouses, but we have like a reasonably fast clock. It's not impossible that we could... Like, my opponent just doesn't have removal. It's possible we could win even through this. Seems kind of unlikely, given that they're drawing, I guess, 5 cards now a turn. Oh my goodness. That's disgusting. Oh. How sad am I? Let's see, the beginning of your upkeep. Okay, that card does not seem very good. Very, very aggressive. I don't know, Angelic Purge. At the time, I was like, man, if they're going to play a bomb, I'm just going to really regret it. And it turns out I'm really regretting it here. Opponent's playing, I think, a lot of cards that aren't particularly good, but it doesn't really matter because they have so much mana and so many cards to do it. Like, if their hand was all Reaver Drones, we'd still be in a lot of trouble. Tomb Hex. Oh, that's good. Okay. Taps that down. We take like 8. I guess. Oh. They could have tapped a different ally than that, but don't think it's gonna matter. Oof, yeah. Solidly thwacked this game. I suppose I can try and blame our lands, but yeah, solidly thwacked. Is there any way we survive here? I guess we maybe shouldn't guarantee my opponent doesn't know we just have, like, I don't know, a 2-cost Wrath of God instant speed or something. One draws an additional 5 cards. What even is this card? Oh man, destroying me is the answer. Okay. Hazel play Nibbles to Frost. It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit harder. It's technically a 2-turn clock between those two, but I'm pretty sure my opponent's just gonna crush us this next turn anyway. On the other hand, Reaver Drone, getting in for that extra point of damage. Solid. I am sad that I lost to this deck, but I definitely lost to this deck. Alright, well, I guess there's no point not just F6ing here. Niblis is definitely dead. Come on, they went 4 colors. Like, legit 4 colors, too. They played a lot of cards out of every color. Worked out. Seagate Lore Masters is nasty. Yeah, I guess there's no reason not to just take it. We'll let my opponent actually get us down to, like, -10 or whatever this will end up being. Ooh, they got a additional Stagger Shock. You got me. You got me. Oof. Yeah, well, we're up 1 in the Innistrad matchup, down 1 against Zendikar. Stupid Lore Master. It did turn out my opponent was fairly aggressive, I guess. I think I guess I did have the right read, but yeah. Oh well. See you guys for match 3. Okay, we are back for match 3 with a better hand, so happy for that. It's still a little bit slow, but I think we're definitely gonna keep it. It's a big fan of the red jumpsuit Apparat. Oh, it is Tuss. It just looked like it cut off because it's Apparatus. Wayfarer's Bauble. Sacrifice it, search your life for a basic land card, opponent battlefield tapped. Okay, so that's rampant growth in a jar. Seems solid. Blood Artist, not a bad draw, certainly. Yeah. Just gonna play a Swamp here on the off chance that we also draw a Swamp and we want a Victim of Night something. Opponent is running out Goldmere. Gonna get that mana ramp. So we could just kill this. I think we're probably better off just trying to kill the stuff that comes out after it. So I guess if we're not Victim of Nighting, we should play Plains, because we might play Always Watching next turn. Blood Artist. This is lovely art. Well, I mean, I like the art in general. His art's a little bit creepier, but that's alright. Binding Soul Eater. Okay. It's a tapper for 3. Seems solid. One definitely looks like they're a little bit on the aggressive side of things. Or, sorry, on the defensive side of things. Kind of ramping up, stalling for the late game. Yeah, I still don't think that we Victim of Night anything here. We'll play Always Watching. And hope that our Fiend Binder and Abattoir Ghoul do some pretty good work. Ariok Blade Warden. Okay, so if he's got equipment, that gets bigger. Otherwise, it's just +1/+1, but still being able to do that instant speed is pretty powerful. Obviously, it scales very, very well, but I don't think you're ever going to be unhappy with that effect. Midnight Haunting, a welcome draw. What do we want out of this? I guess the Fiend Binder is probably a better first play. Abattoir Ghoul is kind of nice because it sometimes ends up being kind of unblockable. It kind of works well with like Victim of Night too, because if it deals 1 damage to something after a double block, you can still Victim of Night it and gain some extra life. I think Fiend Binder is where we're at now. And we definitely don't want to underestimate the power of having Blood Artist available here, because if we just start trading creatures off, it's going to get a fair amount of drain value. Opponent just searching up regular old land. Yeah, they're definitely ramping towards something. I think we might want Victim of Night to deal with something pretty big and scary here. Hopefully Carnifex Demon. Here's bad with 2/1/1 counters. Okay, I mean it's big mostly. The Victim of Night does answer it, which is nice. And they cannot actually activate it right now. My opponent is going to be able to tap down the Fiend Binder. Probably just need to kill this though, right? Don't really want to give my opponent the opportunity to throw counters around. Although I guess it would kind of wreck everything else they're doing too. And I still think that's like a lot of options, and not giving my opponent options sounds like a good idea. Rest in peace, Carnifex Demon. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have something else even scarier coming down the pipeline. Oh, you actually have to target with Blood Artist. It's kind of annoying. So they can actually give this creature that, can't it? Tap. Target creature gets +X/+X. So I actually can't swing into it or it'll kill it, I'm pretty sure. Kind of interesting. Okay, well, nothing to do here. We'll just pass. And plan on Midnight Haunting on my opponent's turn. It's cool that we've gotten to show off at least 3 different planes here. At least last time Battle of the Plains was around, it wasn't around long enough for people to really figure out what was the quote-unquote best plane. You know, such a wonky environment, like it was kind of hard to really go in with your previous understandings of formats necessarily being true. Do we want to trade Midnight Haunting for Goldmere? I don't think so. Especially given that we're going to have a couple of blockers pretty quick here. Alright, we are down to 18, and my opponent has no follow-up. Well, Midnight Haunting at the end step here. Ooh, Silverclaw Griffin's a good one too. So let's go to attacks. We'll be able to get in for 3 here. I assume my opponent is going to tap down the Fiend Binder. Sure. I don't think there's anything that wrecks us too bad. Maybe it's like some sort of untapped combat trick, but I don't know the sets well enough to play it too scared here. Let's do Silverclad Griffin. Seems solid. This is going to be kind of a terror to behold. Both these cards hit fairly hard. My opponent only has 1 tapper. They played a lot of lands, and I guess that's it for them. That's a little bit surprising. I don't think that the game was over quite yet. Okay, Carnifex Demon is scary, certainly. Makes tokens a little bit worse, maybe. Ghostly Possession might not be bad if my opponent's like trying to ramp up into something big and scary. Does seem to be the case. Victim of Night seems very solid. Maybe take out Midnight Haunting, although I feel like the upside on ambushes of that card is just pretty high, and a lot of times having 1/1s is still perfectly reasonable. Take out Undying Evil. I think this card is fine, but a little bit mediocre just in general. Maybe Griff Spoon even? Yeah, okay. Griff Spoon's kind of whatever. Let's run this back. Could bring in the Demon Male Hauberk, I suppose, too, but opponent didn't show us any removal. Do they have any removal? Probably have some. Alright, opponent did take a long time sideboarding there, so it's very possible that they've swapped into an entirely new deck. We're going to keep this. It's a little bit land heavy. Definitely could have some bad draws that start from this hand, but I think I keep 5 landers most of the time, especially when we have a couple of early plays with our remaining 2. Hey, Moorland Inquisitor, welcome to the party. Should have played Swamp there, as always. There's the... Oh, no, that's not true. I was going to say there's a chance we would want to play Victim of Night. Is that what it's called? Victim of Night, yeah. But we actually couldn't draw it and a Swamp in the same turn, so that's irrelevant. Still would be a good habit to just do that, though. Let's play our Moorland Inquisitor. Probably just going to follow it up with a Thraben Foulbloods, but opponent is ramping hard with Golden Mirror here. Ebon Drake. Whenever a player casts a spell, you lose a life. It's a 3/3 flying for 3, though. That's a good card. Huh. Yeah, that's a great card. I mean, the damage my opponent takes in the meantime is not nothing, but... well, I don't know. We actually probably are going to be able to get in for a fair amount of extra like damage here. Maybe Ebon Drake's downside is bigger than it looks. In general, you're happy to trade away life for like an undercosted threat. But especially early in the game, this has the potential to do like 5 or 6 damage to my opponent. That's a fair amount. Frost Ripper. Okay. 3/3 with a kind of weak shade effect, but a shade effect all the same. I have to assume the Ebon Drake's gonna get in, yeah. Just gonna play Fiendbinder, just gonna keep playing kind of the most efficient play every round. Let's get in with our Foulbloods. Can't really block the Dross Ripper, unfortunately, so we're gonna take 6 next turn, which is a reasonably high amount. Wonder if that's high enough that we should play the Markov or Patrician. Probably not. Fiendbinder means my opponent's got to be afraid of taking too much damage from us, too. Because potentially we could crack for like 8 next turn. If they play a spell and we play a spell, all of a sudden they're down to like 4 life. Okay. Radiate. Target creature gets -1/-1 for each artifact you control. Fair enough. It is dead. And Abuna Acolyte. I've seen this card before. Prevent the next 1 damage to be dealt to any target this turn. Or 2 to an artifact creature. Ooh, that's a good card. Got some great synergies going on. Okay, yeah, we gotta take this. We play the Patrician. This is basically unblockable at this point with the Acolyte in play. But I think we still just want to play this, because potentially it swings back the best. And again, my opponent's going down to 6 here, at least. That's Ebon Drake is not free. Really cool card. Initially, I was kind of unimpressed just because the effect looks like just, oh, it's just another overpowered, like, medium-sized creature. But I actually really kind of like the design. In the late game, it's not overbearing, and then in the early game, it does a lot of value. Okay, so my opponent now holding up the Ripper Dross defensive, which is good news, bad news for us. Ooh, there's the Carnifex Demon. Ugh. So if they utilize it, the Acolyte does die. There's a Griffin. We could play the Searchlight Geist and Midnight Haunting. That would all get destroyed by Carnifex Demon. We can... Is this -1/-1 counters? Our board just evaporates. If they throw counters around everywhere, we're probably dead, right? They've got 6 mana available. They swing for 7 already. So 2, yeah, they can just utilize the draw strippers. I think we have to keep up Midnight Haunting to try and last minute block. I guess we'll play Searchlight Geist. That means we want to swing with the Patrician. Turn Effects Demon kind of makes for some interesting twists. Prevents the next damage. It's lifelink. Means we'd only gain 1 life off of it. My opponent might be loath to try for that, because it would kill like the Acolyte and the Golden Mirror. I think I'm not going to swing with the Patrician. I don't know if the 1 life will actually make that much of a difference. Carnifex Demon might get us here. Ugh, this Acolyte seems so good. Yeah, it looks like they're going to go for the Carnifex Demon line, which I think is very reasonable. Now we get to chump block with the Haunting. My opponent's going to go down to 3. It's possible we can kill him next turn. Enters the battlefield, target opponent puts a card from their hand on top of their library. Guess we're going to put the Silverclawed Griffin on top. Midnight Haunting being instant is a big deal here. Okay. My opponent goes down to 2, so I think we have lethal, right? Because I guess we get to block when we play the Griffin. Genius! Genius, genius, genius. Look at that clean play. Alright. And we get to swing in and play the Griffin. Hoo hoo hoo! Genius, genius, genius. Nice. Alright, yeah, I mean, Drake ended up costing my opponent in the end. It was close, though. We had kind of just enough to get there. But that's a cool finale. An interesting last game. Well, cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this match. It is a little bit off the beaten path. I'm still loving Dominaria. I'm not sure if it's getting old to watch over and over, but I do think that, I mean, that draft format is one of my favorites in a long time, so I think I could probably play it straight up to the release of the core set and not be unhappy. Speaking of which, the core set is getting, like, it's coming out sooner than I expect. I think it's like a month away or so now. Probably getting pretty close to spoiler season. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was fun. If you guys want to see more Battle of the Plains before it disappears, definitely let me know. I might be able to sneak in 1 or 2 more series before it goes away. But I think we had a pretty great deck. Definitely got run over pretty badly in match 2. We maybe didn't play perfectly, our lands weren't the best. But match 1, match 3, the deck performed really well. Leaned on Silverback Paladin, always watching, and Mikaeus, although I guess Mikaeus never actually did terribly awesome. Yeah, I think pretty much all the cards in the deck had a chance to highlight their strength. So, cool. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.